What better way to start a 1v1 than focusing on Volkmar the Grim's huge mustache? Another Uno e Uno here today, guys. We got the Empire versus the Vampire Coast. Now, in a strange turn of events, I'll be playing as the Empire and not a knife ear such as a High Elf, Dark Elf, or Wood Elf. Let's take a look at my army. Now, we have a lot of quarrelers, or I'm sorry, crossbowmen. That's the name of this game. Not a lot of thunderers, and by thunderers, I mean handgunners. These are intended mistakes. So, what we can see here is that the crossbowmen have a really great range, right? 160 means that they can shoot over all the units, and they can stay at range of the majority of the Vampire Coast. That's the big use of the crossbowmen here. By taking handgunners, we're going to be about the same range as our Vampire Coast counterparts, give or take, and on top of it, we're going to have to deal with the fact that we have to be at a better vantage point. Crossbowmen allows us a lot more flexibility. Now, we've gone with a large amount of map denial. If we take a look at this, we have a large area that we're taking up with our forces. We have spearmen all throughout the front lines here. Now, the spearmen are a really great, affordable way to just kind of deal with the majority of the Vampire Coast front line, as well as any Mourngulls, any kind of crabs, any crustaceans, anything else from the Red Lobster menu. Now, behind that, we have 2 units of great swords. These are going to deal with your depth guard. They're going to do a lot of damage because they do AP and anti-infantry. Sure, the depth guard do have their lovely hunger capabilities here, but these guys are going to mulch them up for the most part. But on top of that, behind everything, we have 2 units of Empire Knights. They're going to kind of support and screen out any summons into the back line, deal with any sort of large creatures that break through, Mourngulls included. And then lastly, we have the Hammer of Witches supported by a unit of Spearmen. Hammer of Witches are going to be a great target for stuff like Count Noctilus, Necrofix Colossus, or any other of the larger constructs that you typically deal with in a Vampire Coast army. Now, as far as our leadership, we have Volkmar the Grim, as we so justly saw. The only thing he doesn't have on him is his 50% miscast ability. It's kind of a little hit or miss, not really worth it. And then we have our Jade Wizard here. Now, that only has Earth Blood and Regrowth. Boop and boop. No Shield of Thorns today. Let's take a look at our army here. Go into normal speed, get everything down range. Now, our army here is pretty large as well. Look at that massive amount of area that it takes up. Now, they have 2 units of Mourngulls, one of them being the Regiment Renown version right here. Dude, look at the night terrors. Look at these just terrors in the night, quite fittingly. Oh, walk on through me. I don't care. Oh, so beautiful. Now, the Mourngulls in general are pretty beastly. I mean, just the standard variation has 100 weapon strength, AP, and anti-infantry. That's going to do a lot of damage to you. In addition to that, they have hunger. These guys have 20 whopping additional AP. So it's really something to be mindful of. In addition to that, they're going to have 2 crustaceans here. The Lampreys. Got a really good focus on them. Boom. The Lampreys Revenge, the Rotting Promethean Gunnery Mob, as well as another Rotting Promethean over here. Now, these are just the normal Rotting Prometheans that are going to jump into melee combat. Now, throughout the front line, they just really have a lot of Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs, including some polearms units. That's really great for knocking down any of my larger cav units or steam tank if I were ever to take such a wily construct. I'm actually going to slow this down real quick here. Now, they do have a vampire of vampires, the lore of vampires, a fleet captain here on a crustacean that is going to be kind of annoying to deal with. Yeah, sure, we have a lot of spears, but that thing on its own can do quite a lot of damage. It does have hunger. It can summon up any kind of units if it so wants, and it does have that ability on it. It also has Invocation of Nehek on it, so it can heal as well. Now, Salasha Direfin is our main opponent. That is going to be the mistress of this army with her Knights Errant summons and her Lore of the Deep control. I'm trying to see what ability she's got here. You got Ghosts of the Past, which is your Knights Errant. She has Songs of Enthrallment, which is her actual activatable ability, which obviously, as you see, reduces melee attack considerably and speed, so it can help her really mob down any targets. She has Arcane Conduit as well as Fog of the Damned, and it looks like the only other ability is Denizens of the Deep, are her 2 Lore of the Deep's abilities. Now, Fog of the Damned is a really nice against Empire because it does do a massive reduction to leadership, well, a minor one at least, but the ability to summon Rotting Prometheans at will is very strong against an army like the Empire. In this case, I don't have a lot of halberds, so taking those down is going to be a little bit more of a challenge for me. So let's just go ahead and go back to normal speed. You can see our first engagement kicking off here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Just throwing ghostly entrails all over these guys. So yeah, I forgot to mention I do have Free Company Militia on both sides of the flanks, just to do some additional damage to anything that's kind of summoned out, especially these Morngulls or these gunnery mobs that are coming in. Some Pirate Deckhand mobs have been summoned over here as well, and our left flank is already in pretty intense shape. We brought our leadership over here to get some additional heals, bringing over Volkmar to do some damage. Now on our right flank, we can see that we're already firing as much as we can into our Night Terrors. We're using those crossbowmen to good effect, getting them down as fast as possible. Remember, the Night Terrors do have hunger, and they can regenerate that health, so we want to make sure we knock them out as fast as possible. And then, as well, Rotting Prometheans pushing through the front line into our greatswords, which is not a great engagement for them. There aren't, as we take a look here, there aren't really any depth guard to focus those greatswords on. Oh, look at this. I love the Laura Deep's abilities. Oh, even when she summons up the Knights Errants, which is the same exact ability, like as far as the animation goes, it is so sick. And she just kind of sings and wails away. Oh! Now pushing our Empire Knights into this, trying to screen out this as best we can, pulling back our crossbowmen to help shoot back into the rest of our army here. Let's push over the left flank, and we can see that those Free Company Militia are already in tatters, bringing our Empire Knights over there to try and just reinforce that left flank as best as possible. And we do have some Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs with polearms pushing in, and they will do a lot of damage to both Volkmar and those Empire Knights. But getting those Morngulls out of the fight fast is going to be pretty crucial here. You can also see the Lamprey's Revenge are in terrible, terrible shape. Getting those Hammer of Witches shots onto them as much as possible. The center line, though, is faring a bit better. We do have a lot of damage coming out from these great swords, ripping through these deckhand mobs. You can see the zombie pirate gunnery mobs are in close range, doing some shots into the crossbowmen and to our spearmen with shields. As you can see, we just moved down the line here. Things are kind of buckled through lines here and there, getting some shots into our great swords from these gunnery mobs as well. The Morngulls here are having a dance party. And the Knights Errant, big thing with these is we're going to use our Empire Knights to try and help defend these lowly crossbowmen that are just getting rode down. We do have another unit of spearmen in the back here, so this will be good defense onto our Hammer of the Witches. They just kind of charge through. Now, I do have a nice advantage here. These Knights Errant are spread out. They are getting attacked by these spearmen. They are getting attacked by these Empire Knights. So that should help the unit cohesion, for me at least, to do some additional damage to them without them being able to mass up on one unit and do a ton of damage. But let's again survey the battlefield here. Things are pretty stressful. You can see our right flank, for the most part, has buckled. We do have a unit of greatswords fighting zombie pirate deckhand mobs, which is good, and some unit of spearmen coming back. But we do have a full unit of, well, not really a full, but a good strength unit of running Prometheans, and these Night Terrors, which can really heal up quite quick. Now, our left flank is faring a bit better. Our greatswords are doing a lot more significant damage over here. They've won one or two fights, and they're pushing on. Now, we have had to push back Volkmar. He is in a more of a precarious situation as he is surrounded now by the Vampire Fleet Captain, the Lamprey's Revenge, and there are 6 Morngulls left on this unit. So we're pushing our Volkmar out of this situation, slowly but surely. Now, again, falling back with our crossbowmen to try and keep some additional fire onto things. You don't want to maintain that line because they're just going to get compromised, and if they do, they're just going to get smashed to bits. Any kind of additional damage here, knocking down some Morngulls here. Oh, God, gorilla pounding their way through our crossbowmen. Ugh. Just unsightly. Lasha has broken through here on to our Lifecaster, which is unfortunate. I don't really have a lot of ways to kill Lasha aside from the Hammer of Witches and from Volkmar the Grim. She is ethereal, so she does have a nice physical resist. If she were on her crab mount, she would not have that physical resist bonus as much. We're kind of setting up a secondary backline or secondary front line here as we kind of reform ranks around our artillery pieces. We have all of our right flank is now almost completely buckled, if not entirely. I believe our great swords are, oh, there they are. They're fleeing right there. They still have about half unit strength, so if they rally, we'll be in better shape. Trying to push Volkmar, though, out of this situation. He is being chased down by that fleet captain. We have casted a regrowth on him. He does have the Jade Griffin, so he will be regenerating as soon as he comes back from this little action here. He's nearing his healing cap, though, so we have to be mindful of that. Now, our Jade Wizard does have Song of Enthrallment on him, as well as the rest of this whole entire unit. So, Lasha is going to be able to really debuff and bog down my army right now. So, we have to be mindful as best we can. You can see a lot of my army is in tatters and running away, but The name of the game here is really getting rid of these big, scary units. I mean, the Lamprey's Revenge is almost completely done with. It has 1 unit left in it. We got him just about facing, turning onto this fleet captain, trying to do some damage here. You fear death, Volkmar the Grim. That was a terrible Bill Nye impression. So we're going to have to pull him out soon because we do have some. Take a look at this. The Night Terrors are at full unit strength. They have low health, but they're still at 12 of 12 models. Now you can see the Lamprey's Revenge. The last one has died. And still, though, we're dealing with 1 unit of Rotting Prometheans. Those big units need to get taken care of quickly when you are facing against Vampire Counts, or Coast. Knocking them out as fast as possible is really going to help save the day for you. Getting our Empire Knights onto Solastro, they won't be able to do a ton of damage here, but anything is better than nothing right now. We have those Night Terrors, though, on Volkmar, and these guys are just going to do a crap ton of damage. They are anti-infantry, but they have really high weapon strength, they do AP, and Volkmar's not going to like that. You can see him just trying to juke these guys as best he can, but the jawless horrors are slavering at his heels. We have won a little bit more of our center fight here. Those Rotting Prometheans are in terrible shape. They are, some of the units that were summoned are starting to buckle and disappear, and our balance of power is coming back a little bit. We are still below half, but we aren't by no means out of this fight entirely. We still have our Life Wizard, and we still have plenty of units that can do some damage to what's left on the board here. You can see we're just trying to use Volkmar as best we can, do any kind of disruptive damage in the back line, pull some units off that frontline engagement to help better disperse them and get damage around. Really, those Night Terrors are going to be the terror. Going back over here to the main fight. Survey that battlefield. We can see some units kind of coming back. We have some great swords that are going right into this unit of pole arms, both zombie deckhands with pole arms. And unfortunately, our Jade Wizard is starting to rout. But at this point, our Winds of Magic are pretty minimal, and there are no real great high-value targets for those Winds of Magic. So really at this point, it's a matter of trying to pick apart the things that we can. If we can get this Vampire Fleet Captain down and out with some of our crossbowmen back here, we'll be in better shape. Well, crossbowmen there, and I guess handgun or Free Company Militia here. But really, at this point, our balance of power is really starting to tick down. Volkmar the Grim is just jumping from unit to unit. He's got 730 health. He's just getting pulverized by everything. Look at those Night Terrors still slaving after those horses' heels. Man, they've just been on him for the better part of 2.5 minutes. And as the army really just kind of gets pulled apart at this point, we're just kind of salvaging what we can. I always like to make at least one little victory for myself. Like, okay, try to get that fleet captain, or try to kill their leader. Something that I can say, well, at the very end I did this. But our balance power is just tanking more and more and more. We don't really have anything of any kind of worth left on the battlefield, except for maybe these guys. Alone, Hammer of Witches' great cannon crew. Can they win the game on their own? As they approach the zombie pirate gunnery mob, will they win? Will Volkmar escape from the Night Terrors? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Bad news. I just don't. I get completely my ass handed to me right here. Look at this. It's like Last Samurai level getting gunshots. There's no real way to kind of come back at this point. Things have just been too surrounded, too beat up. Really, the biggest downfall of this engagement was not getting these large creatures out of the way fast. I think that what I should have done was, with my crossbowmen, take all of them and focus on one of the larger units at a time and work down the road. If I had just focused on the Morngulls, namely the Night Terrors, I would have been in a better position. We did get one whole entire unit of Morngulls, but let's take a look at our archers here. You can see here, they did a considerable amount of damage, but if I had taken all of these range units and just burned down one Morngull at a time, I would have been in a much stronger place. The Morngulls got 146 kills between the two of them, and then the Rotting Prometheans got a whopping 68 kills between the two of them too. If I was able to at least put the Morngulls out of the play, which are anti-infantry and AP, I would have been much better off. I mean, I was fighting against, for the most part, chaff infantry. My infantry outclasses them, but the Morngulls slapping them all aside, the Rotting Prometheans pushing into them, the summoning of the Rotting Prometheans really just did a number on me. If I had just simply focused on them, I would have been a lot better off. So that's my my takeaway to you if you're playing as the Empire against Vampire Coast. deal with their larger beasts first and foremost, because your front line is just gonna hold against all their front line. There's nothing to really worry about there. The only thing you can really worry about, I guess, is fear. But at that point, as long as you're killing the big beasts, it's not going to really matter. But a huge shout out to XMT Halo. That's the Extreme Meme team. Those guys are a bunch of cool cats. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching here today. We've got plenty more quick battles coming for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, all that kind of action. But have a good one and take care.